Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Storytime Network's very own Paradox Hour. Today, we're gonna be weebs and talk about Gojo's gorgeous eyes.
I mean,
I mean,
they're pretty fucking pretty. Like
they
I
are
like
Jesus.
really
Gojo
beautiful
in
eyes.
general. Look, he's not my usual type, but when he takes that blindfold off, that just does things to me.
Look, you weren't around on art Twitter when that fucking episode of
No,
the
but
anime
I
dropped.
had you. You
Yeah,
posted
no,
plenty
I
of
was
it.
posting a bunch of them, and they were all like in the fucking tens of thousands of likes, which is fucking rare.
People were just thirsting over Gojo like crazy.
I mean, can you blame
Normies,
him?
yeah.
Also,
I
I
No.
mean,
I accidentally started on the B back screen, so I'll just change scenes. Huh? Oh no, Panda's taken
Oh.
over.
Oh no! This isn't One Piece! Go back to the Grand Line, you panda man.
I love Panda so much. Panda was what hooked me on this series. There we go.
Oh god, I really please let's not talk about panda.
No, we're
Cause
I
talking
don't
about
remember
fucking.
now.
We're talking about fucking Panda.
I
No,
remember
cause
seeing.
I'm a manga reader.
I
Fuzzy,
remember
do
seeing.
not say anything more.
Fuzzy,
But
we
at the same
literally,
time,
literally said that about
look,
5 minutes ago.
we've been working on various podcasts for 3 years now. You should know this by now. I will sink every single ship with my loose lips.
That's not an excuse.
I didn't say anything. All I said was that Gojo's eyes were pretty. And that Panda should go back to One Piece. Oh, I'm
Whatever.
sorry I spoiled the One Piece Jujutsu Kaisen crossover.
Hmm.
Damn it, Fuzzy. We talked about this. It was supposed to be a surprise.
Now they're gonna
What
cancel it.
really, what really surprised me was when Thanos showed up.
Turns out Infinity War wasn't the biggest crossover of all time.
Hmm.
So yes, for those of you who have tolerated our ramblings up till this point, we are talking today about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Specifically the anime content of this series, because we're not going to dip into post-anime content.
Yeah, three
this
out of
time
four of
around.
us are fully caught up, and Kaido is a filthy volume only, like Mill is with most other series.
I mean, I would be reading it more if they actually would let me.
Hmm.
If they actually gave me the fucking books when I order them on Amazon,
Yeah.
when they're available, when it means by that logic they have them in stock,
Jujutsu Kaisen
or are
is,
they
is
just taking
Jujutsu Kaisen has fully fallen to the Demon Slayer syndrome of a good anime has wiped out all supplies of the manga.
I can always find copies of Demon Slayer to buy. It's just Jujutsu Kaisen and Haikyuu, I guess.
Haikyuu
See,
is the weird
I-
one.
I'm honestly kind of glad. Right? Like, I sincerely think that Jujutsu Kaisen deserves all of the hype it's getting.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I agree.
I
I mean,
mean,
it could be Demon Slayer. Mm.
I mean, potentially lukewarm take here, but I believe Jujutsu Kaisen is significantly better than Demon Slayer.
Oh, it is not even a. It is so cold, you might as well just, like,
There's no
pour some
context.
drinks.
I'm pretty sure everyone here is in agreement on that front.
I know, but there will be some
Look,
people
Demon
who aren't.
Slayer. Demon Slayer is a fun idea, but ultimately it kind of is just treading old ground.
Mm.
Jujutsu Kaisen is surprisingly fresh for another high school urban fantasy battle shonen.
Well, I
I
said
mean,
this.
I-
Right? Like,
Has
Yeah.
horror elements.
Well, yeah, because I said this to you, Fuzzy, when just after I first read it. It's surprisingly dark for a Shonen Jump series.
also, I would just like to say something. I was reading it before it was cool.
Yeah.
I am literally the first
Hipster.
person. Look, I am the first person in this call who started reading the manga, and I kept recommending it to everyone, and you guys were all so late to jump on the bandwagon.
I mean, I was going to read it. I asked people in the TFS server what did they think. Was told it was mid, and then
Who the fuck told you
the
that?
Number, I believe, was one of the people, or at least they responded to my question.
Numbers opinions are hit or miss.
I am surprised that I did not reply saying that it was an amazing series featuring a panda.
It's possible that did this happen before you started reading it, Milk? Because I'm pretty sure you started reading it.
This was when it was only the first volume in stores to buy.
That might have been before I read it.
Yeah, that was before. Because I remember
it was during the summer. It was during the summer.
I think the latest chapter when Mill was reading it was like 51 or so.
It wasn't.
I remember
it wasn't that late.
I said I would.
Or it wasn't that early.
I remember. I said I would read it once all the chapters were available on the Shonen Jump app, and that didn't happen until they started releasing the volumes physically.
It was available on Viz, though, I thought.
No, it was not. It was not available legally
for
a good while.
Let me try and remember exactly, because I know I read it. I read it just after the end of May last year, because it was part of my manga binge after I finished my degree. I believe it was just after I read Spy X Family. I think probably just before I either read Siren or Claymore, one of those two. I think Siren.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
God, you're reminding me now that Siren exists.
I mean, it has a fucking bold tagline, but it also got axed more brutally than I think I've ever seen any other series get.
It feels so weird as a series anyway, but that's Siren for you.
Anyway, back onto Jujutsu Kaisen, because...
yes, or as it is translated, sorcery fight. There's legitimately some places... Yeah, there's legitimately some places that market it as sorcery fight.
Oh, yeah.
That's still a rad-ass name.
It's the new Bleach.
It's just like...
This is better Bleach.
I mean, I feel like if you were to have a new big three in Shonen Jump, Jujutsu Kaisen would fill the niche of Bleach.
And Hiro Aka would probably fill the Naruto niche.
Yeah, and I'd say Black Clover would do that for One Piece.
Except One Piece still filled the One Piece niche.
Yeah. No, One Piece is filling the Dragon Ball niche.
That is true. I hope to God that One Piece gets... Oh, you know what? I would not... I would prefer not... I would prefer it if TFS's prediction did not come true and there was like a two-piece 30 years later starring Luffy again.
Well, no, at that point he's just getting into suits.
But yeah, we're talking about everything but Jujutsu Kaisen at the moment. Isn't that great? But it's important to give context, because I think Jujutsu Kaisen is probably what peak 3rd or 4th gen shonen looks like. Are we classifying this as 3rd gen or 4th gen?
I'd say 3rd gen.
No, because I would say that real classic shonen like Fist of the North Star would be 1st gen.
What'd be 2nd gen? Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball is 2nd gen, yes.
Okay. Then definitely 4th gen.
1st gen is Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star and JoJo are 1st gen. Dragon Ball Yu Yu Hakusho, that's 2nd gen. The big 3 is 3rd gen. And we're in 4th gen stuff.
Yes.
Oh yeah, then definitely 4th gen.
I believe Jujutsu Kaisen is about as close as you're going to get to the peak of the 4th gen. Because it, unlike all of the... Look, all of this series in the 4th gen have been pretty solid. Yeah. However, even series like Hero and Demon Slayer and Black Clover especially, they still fall into some traps.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like Hiro Aka has some of the most glaring flaws to it, even though it is probably
I
the
would say
best one.
I would give that to Black Clover actually, because
We can
Black
discuss
Clover is
that more when we
yes,
get to that.
but no, the context is important because I think Jujutsu Kaisen has avoided the majority of the traps.
No,
Oh yeah,
when the Shonen Jump chapters come out on Sundays, Jujutsu Kaisen is the one that I'm most excited for, even over One Piece.
Oh yes,
frankly.
I save it for last. Well,
I
actually,
read it
no.
first. As Kyle
Yeah,
will
you
know,
make
I put off our
yourself so
D&D session, so I'll read it first.
Yeah, no. I'm more of a save the best for last person, so my order tends to be something like Black Clover, maybe Doctor Stone,
those fights.
MHA, then either Jujutsu Kaisen or One Piece. I swap the order around for those.
I'm always most anxious for One Piece, so I read that first, and I usually read either Jujutsu Kaisen or Hero
The
Aka
thing about One
last.
Piece is that One Piece is like reading One Piece every week has become automatic at this point, right? It's not even something that you think about consciously.
Honestly,
Yep.
if I was to read manga online like you guys do, I'd probably end up reading My Hero first, and yeah, end on the best.
But like, just to give context for uh one of the traps, and I hate the fact that this is an achievement. Let me just put that out there. But Jujutsu Kaisen features high school girls who wear clothing
Mm.
that
Yeah,
covers them up.
I remember I can't remember who it was, but I remember a tweet about that. How he was really nervous about getting into Jujutsu Kaisen because he was afraid to see what the schoolgirls were going to be done, like what they were going to do with them.
Thankfully, Akatami's parents read the manga, and he doesn't want to doesn't want to draw any fan service because of that. Which, thank you, Akatami's
It doesn't
parents, for
stop.
saving us from
I mean,
that.
that kind of just makes them hotter.
Well, I know
The
there was
fact that they're not fan servicey at all and they're just badasses, that kind of just makes them even more attractive.
I mean, the high schoolers though.
So they're not real
They're
people.
fictional characters, okay? There's a bit. It's a bit less weird if they're fictional, but there is still weirdness to it. Yes.
I mean, it says a lot that, like, in that, I believe, didn't Akutami have, like, an interview with Tite Kubo?
Mm.
Like, Kubo was saying how he couldn't find any of the characters attractive because they're not really drawn to be sexy, as opposed to Bleach.
Yeah, but that's a Kubo problem.
Is
We
it a
don't
prob-
talk about Kubo. Like
Is it a
you're
problem
talking as
though?
if Kubo has opinions of value, considering what he's created, the mess he made.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can say it about a lot of stuff, though, like... Hunter... Hunter...
Look, let's not talk about
Eventually,
Hunter
we
is
will.
really the
Eventually,
odd man
we will
out of
have.
the shonen.
Yeah. Eventually, we will have an on-stream debate about Hunter x Hunter, but that is not today.
Yeah, that's for later.
But yeah, so
Fist fight.
in summation, Jujutsu Kaisen, no shipping drama nonsense, no
No underage fan service.
no fan service in general, except for the one
Unless you
Shonen
count
San
Gojo.
scene.
Unless you count Gojo's beautiful eyes.
No, Gojo is transcends such mere notions of fan service. We're here for Gojo. Everything else is just background noise.
Mm.
Gojo doesn't do anything for me. Is that bad to say?
Yes. I'm just kidding. It's not a bad thing to say.
I
It's
like
not an
him.
issue.
And, like, if I was gay, I'd probably be very interested, but it's just not my type.
Why
I'm
is
here-
it? Because he's a cocky asshole.
It's because I'm here for Todo.
You know what? It's fine if you simp Todo instead.
Toto is great. It's hard to go wrong with Toto.
Yeah, we're skipping in. So, interestingly enough, there is in fact one instance of fan service in this series.
Is it in the manga?
No, it's in the pilot, like in both the manga and the anime. Very first
Oh,
episode, the normal classmate of Yuji
oh, that thing.
gets groped by the curse.
Ah, yeah.
I wouldn't really call that fan service, though.
No, but it's the only instance of anything remotely sexual happening.
Mm.
Very blink and miss.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Not in the anime. They kind of
Linger.
take their time with that shot in the anime, unfortunately.
I mean,
you
I'm
saying
pretty
you
sure
was-
it's supposed to be horrifying.
It is horrifying, but this is the internet, Jack.
The internet is a horrifying place, Fuzzy.
But yeah, basically, uh, it really, really fills that battle shonen craving while avoiding most of the flaws. Now, granted, there are flaws, right? I don't think we should just spend the entire time gushing over it.
Oh, no,
Why
definitely not.
not?
Because it is not a perfect series, despite how much we love it.
I mean, look, if even One Piece has major flaws that we can criticize, Jujutsu Kaisen as well. It's like there are things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think
think
of
the
any off the
biggest-
top of my head, but there are things.
The biggest flaw of Jujutsu Kaisen, in my opinion, is the fact that of the main group, Nobara doesn't get a lot of focus compared to the rest of the main cast.
Yeah, so that
That's
is
probably
one
my-
of the issues. Though overall,
It's not
it
as-
does.
Bad as some other shonen series are about their
Hero.
leads.
I don't think it
I
helps. that
was going to say Uraka.
Mm. I don't think it helps
Look.
with Nobara. She comes in a little bit after we've already established Yuji and
Fushiguro.
Fushiguro, yes, thank you.
Megami.
'Cause, like, yeah, Shadow Boy, whatever. But yeah, like it doesn't help that those two were established first, and so it sort of already have like
They already had a bit of chemistry, and it doesn't hurt that it doesn't help rather that she doesn't really get to show off her full suite of abilities until the very end of the anime at the corpse wool mark.
Mm-hmm.
arguably a good thing because like, do you really want to see their full hand already?
We don't even see the full extent of her abilities, but we see a lot of her abilities.
That's what I like though is that I feel like you never really get to see the full extent of all the characters, and it just keeps you want to see more of what they can do.
Mm.
Exactly.
Like
There's a
imagine
reason that I'll get to it a little bit more. I'll get to a little bit more when we talk about the arc, but there's a reason why we don't get to see Hanami's domain expansion. Guys?
Yes.
I don't even remember too much about that, but let's start in order in which high school student deep throats some fingers.
You're gonna spit out my drink there.
Mm. So,
Was
to
try.
be
That drink,
more
yeah.
specific, Yuji Itadori is...
Yuji has to suck on the fingers of an old
Shut
man.
up, Fuzzy.
Damn it, Fuzzy!
Shut up, Fuzzy. Yuji Itadori is a normal high school kid who with...
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Even from day one, we get an idea that he's not normal. Because
Fair.
he is much stronger and faster than... Like, it explicitly says that he broke the world record for several sporting events.
Fair.
Just
Yeah,
casually.
Yuji is pretty
Without-
explicitly superhuman.
Yes,
Casually
he is...
tosses the shot put ball like a baseball.
He just fucking yeets that thing.
Like, he's capable of bending metal bars without too much of an issue.
I mean, we all could if we weren't losers and strong like Yuji, which isn't that hard, is it?
But yeah, so from the start, you kind of get the impression that he's not exactly
Okay,
average, and you
super.
can tell that because he has.
Because he has
Go ahead, Mel.
because he has pink hair.
Yes, because he has pink hair.
Yeah. Okay then. Yuji is a super strong high schooler who doesn't want to join a club because he needs to get to his hospitalized grandfather every day, but does join the what is it, the occult society basically.
Occult
Yeah.
Researcher Society, basically just the club for the kid for the goth chuny crossover kids who don't fit into either group.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that club that gets Yuji into trouble because they find a finger in a box.
What
A
does the
curse?
But what's so special about this finger in a box, Mel?
Damn it. I couldn't get that out with a straight face. As Jack said, it is a cursed finger from the individual known as Ryoman Sukuna. Who, let's be real, is an evil son of a bitch.
I
Yeah.
just want someone powerful at some point in the series to call him Ramen Sakana, which would translate to ramen fish.
You know what's funny? What I want to say is like there's something refreshing about Sukuna compared to other similar characters in other shonen series.
He is very much not misunderstood. He's not like, no, he's just evil.
Yeah, no, he's just an evil bastard.
He's an evil asshole, and he's unrepentant about it.
He also
Unlike,
just
say,
oozes
the
charisma.
Ninetales.
Yeah.
He also just oozes charisma and like a constant presence,
Mm.
even when he's
Mhm.
not physically on screen. Everything that happens in the series is influenced by his existence in one way or another.
Yeah.
And you never really. I feel like the only other series that really does that is Dio in JoJo's.
Kinda, yeah.
True, Dio has an influence even when he's dead.
At least in Jump series.
Mm.
There are other series that are like that, but they're few and far between.
I mean, you could argue that Frieza is the impetus for the entire Dragon Ball series.
No,
True.
But he has less of a presence.
I don't
And now
know.
he's kind
Not-
of just like
not
Goku's
the
new
entire
girlfriend.
Dragon Ball Z maybe, but not the entire Dragon Ball series.
I mean, retroactively, because like
Goku wouldn't be on Earth without Frieza.
Yeah, but Frieza wasn't why the Dragon Balls exist or Bulma was searching for them.
fair
True.
enough.
How do we know? Maybe there'll be something in Super that like.
Not Super, Tuper.
God.
Oh God.
I mean,
The
maybe
We
worst
still have
part
that
is that
next
that
movie
might
to come
actually
first.
happen, Mill. There might actually be a sequel series to Super that is similarly named badly.
Well, all we know is that there is a sequel movie coming out to Broly, which was a good movie, so I have some hope.
Bio
for that.
Broly.
God, no.
Will Broly's child be green or humans colored?
Yes.
Yes.
Very pale green.
Yeah, it's like this is the first time we've seen a Saiyan. We're gonna probably see a Saiyan hybrid with someone who's not human.
Mhm.
I mean, you know what would be an interesting hybrid? A curse and a human, like in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mm.
Oh yeah, like those
Get back
paintings.
on track.
Because
No comment.
because as it
We'll
turns out,
talk about that.
Sukuna's finger, once released from its cage, starts drawing in cursed spirits from all around. Which is an issue, because while Yuji isn't there, his friends are.
Yeah, I imagine if you got like an entire hand together, it might spontaneously manifest an icon or something.
But Mel, if Yuji,
you get it, because Bloodline and Subject 1.
But Mel, if Yuji has never dealt with a curse, what's he going to do in his lonesome?
I'm glad you asked, because also searching for the finger is Megami Fushiguro, First year at the... Oh god, I don't actually remember the name of the school.
Tokyo Metropolitan Technical...
Tokyo
something.
Metropolitan Curse Technical School, which is...
there you go. I got 3 out of 5.
Well, that was apparently the title of Volume 0 originally. No, it's actually called Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School. Prefectural. For some reason.
I was actually going to say...
We don't have to go over line by line.
Okay, basically,
basically, the
Buff
school
Pink Boy is...
No, we're not doing your summaries, Fuzzy, because you leave out key bits of information that make it sound like dirty.
Yes, and
so we're trying to be somewhat accurate.
So who is this Megami? Why should we care?
Basically,
basically,
what happens in this introductory arc is that these cursed spirits attack the school where Yuji's friends are. Yuji and Megami manage to save them, but only because Yuji ate the finger, which created some sort of form of Sukuna inside him, which then basically tore these cursed spirits to shreds. Luckily, before Sukuna could do the same thing to Megami, the strongest man on the planet, Satoru Gojo, turned up and fucking styled on Sukuna.
Imagine if All Might was hot and still buff all the time.
Are you saying All Might isn't hot all the time anyway?
Imagine All Might as a white-haired Bishi who uses magic instead of punching everything.
And who
just punch things, to be fair.
And who realizes...
Yeah, but he doesn't always punch.
And who realizes he can't just solve all of his problems by killing everyone who bothers him. So instead, he just annoys the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about Jujutsu Kaisen or Akira Everett in my D&D campaign tomorrow?
Damn it, Kyoto.
In less than 17 hours.
Nice plug.
But yes, shameless plugging aside, or actually, speaking of shameless plugging, now Itadori has an old man inside him.
God fucking damn it!
I've missed this, Fuzzy.
So yeah,
Stop dragging Jujutsu Kaisen down to the gutter. It was one of the few series that avoided it, and you're dragging it down.
That's why I'm overcompensating.
I mean, to be fair, Mill.
See, even the dog agrees with me.
I mean, to be fair, Mill, Yuji outright says that he likes women with big butts like Jennifer Lawrence.
He does.
There's at least a gutter.
But yeah, so Gojo is interesting because, as he states later, he's powerful enough to kill all of the dicks, but that doesn't actually solve any problems, and it leaves the world in danger and understaffed.
Yeah, no, the whole kill them all and let God somewhere out approach doesn't really work when you're trying to cause institutional change.
Though, damn if Gojo doesn't get tempted to do it throughout the series. For good reason, let's be real.
The context is that everyone in power is a dick, except Gojo.
But that's
arguably the principal too is not a bad person.
One of the principals, yes, the Panda's father.
But that's why Gojo decides to take in Yuji, right? Because with him and Megami, along with the other senpai at the Tokyo Prefectural School, he wants to use them to help enact change, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to use all of the students at the school to enact change, really.
Yeah, so basically what he wants to do is I have no doubt that his end goal will result in the deaths of all of the people in power, but what he wants to do is he wants to make sure that their replacements are already ready and waiting.
Yeah, he's basically raising up the new generation to be as skilled as possible, and
And
to be
then
on the
he'll
same
murder
wavelength.
everyone else.
And to be on the same wavelength as he is in terms of, not being a dick.
Benevolent.
Yep.
To be fair, though, Gojo is not free of his own set of flaws, right? Like,
Oh no, Gojo
has...
is incredibly flawed. Nobody in series actually likes him, bar maybe Yuji.
The thing is with
Yeah.
Gojo,
Okotsu likes him well enough.
Yeah.
Likes him, and maybe Shoko, but
The problem-
that's a very short list of people.
The problem is
Shoko
with
does not
Gojo
like
is
him. Shoko does not like him.
Really?
No, she fucking hates him.
The problem is with Gojo though is he's hot shit and he knows he is. And he
Yeah.
has every right to be.
Yeah,
So, are you sure you're not accidentally referring to Udahime?
No, I'm still fairly sure Shoko does not like Gojo.
Yeah, she's kind of just a perpetual smiler, so you don't notice as much.
Shoko is just done with
Ah.
everything. I can't get into it, but yeah, Shoko does not like
Oh, that's
Gojo.
interesting. I wonder if are they gonna adapt Volume 0 as part of the main season, or is it gonna be a series of
No,
OVAs?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Oh, really? It's been confirmed?
Yes.
Yep.
It was confirmed
So
right
was it
after,
now?
right after the season ended.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Okay, we can talk about Volume 0 then. But for the time being, basically, I don't think it's arrogance when he's literally just stating facts,
Yeah.
which is kind of what infuriates people even more.
I think
Yep.
it's the fact that he's this strong and yet he uses that strength to just be as much of a dick to people he doesn't like as possible.
Isn't that the whole point of those characters anyway?
Mm.
I mean, what's the point in them being so strong if they're not going to style on people?
True.
Like,
There's also just the fact.
would Gilgamesh be half as entertaining as he is in Fate Zero if he wasn't just himself?
He probably wouldn't be. The pride is
True,
kind of the
but
point.
there's also the fact that it's not that. It is that he genuinely has a hard time empathizing with people less powerful than him.
Gojo? Yeah.
And he also has problems with morality. So I think what's interesting is that in terms of morality, while he's not as bad as the current elders of the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, he's more kind of apathetic because he's so powerful.
Because he's so powerful, like he doesn't understand what it is like for the weaker people, and therefore doesn't understand the problems that befall them and the reasons why they might
And I think it's
not
fascinating...
necessarily agree with the good side and go over to be a bad guy.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about him is that despite the fact that he doesn't understand, he is aware of his own lack of understanding and actually, attempts to not give in to his more God amongst men impulses, right? He's very actually reminiscent of some readings of Superman that I've seen. Right? There's the whole World of Cardboard speech.
Yep.
Sort of deal. And while he's much less of an outright paragon than Superman, there's similarities in that he's very strong and he has to constantly remind himself that other people are fragile and weak. But the interesting thing is that he does take the trouble to constantly remind himself of that.
There's an actual excellent scene in the manga that hasn't been adapted yet that does touch on this, by the way. I'm not going to say anything more, but it does get touched upon further in the manga.
But
long story short, we're getting a flashback arc. That's not a spoiler because it's not a shonen manga without a flashback arc.
Fair enough. It is one of the more sudden flashbacks arcs in shonen, but yes.
Yeah, okay. I will say there are some issues in the manga with abruptness.
But anyway,
it tends to just... Okay, but yes. So Gojo is a fascinating character, and we can probably spend an entire podcast just talking about him.
But instead, I want to move on to the last member of the main quartet, Nobara Kugisaki. The spunky girl from the country who became a Jujutsu sorcerer to get away from the country and move to Tokyo. which somehow
God, I
got
love her.
accepted by Yaga. Like,
I mean,
To be fair, Yaga is kind of like Gojo but weak.
the thing is with Yaga is that he just doesn't care about Jennifer Lawrence. He's never going to meet her, whereas he can meet Kugisaki, I guess. Also, he's voiced by Kiryu from Yakuza. He can
Yeah.
do whatever he wants.
I love whenever Kiryu just appears in an anime. It's great.
He was originally a Thomas the Tank Engine character. But anyway.
God damn.
But anyway, yeah. I fucking love Nobara, and her power's just cool as shit. Because it's based
Yeah,
around
it's
fucking
literally-
nails and straw dolls.
It's voodoo, except cooler.
Yeah. It's just
Also,
fucking
she has a
great.
friggin' hammer.
Yeah.
She doesn't just use it. She can just sometimes if all else fails, she can just hit you with a hammer.
That's one thing I do love about Jujutsu Kaisen, is it takes powers that, not even just powers, but concepts and themes that are very niche normally, and gives them attention.
I mean,
like how Megami can, like, summon familiars from shadow puppets.
I was gonna say that
And-
Megami's power is basically shadow puppets.
And when and if they die, some of their powers trickle down into the other familiars.
Unfortunately, the ones that do die can't be resummoned again,
Yeah.
which is a good drawback to
Very
have, I
interesting. It's a very interesting concept, right? Like, familiars with permadeath is not something you see very often.
Ash's Pikachu dies, and then his Charizard gets electric powers and the cute red cheeks.
think. God, that'd be depressing.
Speaking of permadeath, the arc, or the second arc, is the Cursed Womb arc. And this really was where Jujutsu Kaisen ramped up for me, because I'm just going to say it, Yuji dies.
Yeah,
Not
no,
permanently, though.
Yeah, it's so crazy why the marketing continues to feature him, even though he's, like, dead. And
Yeah.
we never see
Well,
him
they
again.
they don't want to give away the spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. You know, I have to respect it.
Yeah.
I just really
not
didn't
all
expect
Chartered
that.
series are brave enough to pull a bait and switch on the main protagonist.
I just really didn't expect that he'd be replaced by, like, a panda and a guy who likes, what's it, rice ball ingredients?
Rice ball fillings, yeah.
And a woman with glasses. It's, like, really weird that they'd, like, introduce 3 new characters to replace the protagonist, isn't it?
But to in all seriousness, our main 3 students have to face off against what is considered a special grade. So there are different grades of both sorcerers and cursed spirits, from 1 to 4. But then there is also special grade. Special grade sorcerers are, well, the only one we've really met is Gojo.
There
do
are
we
a
know
handful
how many
of
there
4
are?
of them. There are 4 of them total.
We know that by now.
I don't know if it's explicitly stated in the anime yet, but it is stated that there are very few of them, and
Yeah.
Gojo is few.
But yes, so Gojo,
No, what's
Gojo
interesting-
is your typifier for special grade sorcerers, and special grade cursed spirits are, well, Sukuna is a special grade cursed spirit.
But this is actually where we come to an interesting problem in this series that is actually talked about in series. It's unlike something like power levels, which are basically just magical science mumbo jumbo. This is very much admitted to be a human classification system that has flaws because human beings.
Yeah, the issue is special grades.
Well,
it covers a wide
it's even
scope of power.
Yeah, it's even pointed out in this arc because the cursed spirit that comes from the cursed room is a special grade, as is Sukuna, and Sukuna fucking curb stomps it.
Yeah, so it's a very, very wide spectrum. Basically, special grade is what they call anything that's not above first grade. It doesn't matter if it's just a little bit more powerful than first grade, or if it's like a billion times more powerful.
I actually have the order of the grades and, like, the specific things they use in universe for, like, the weapons.
Yeah.
It's like the bottom being grade 4, where a wooden bat can help you out. Then grade 3, where you'd need a pistol. Grade 2, where you would need a shotgun, and it would still be risky. Grade 1, a tank might be useless. And then special grade, carpeting explosive like a cluster bomb could work.
Mm.
And that's the thing, is that a special grade, as that suggests, is basically ranges from anything from like an entire nation worth of firepower to a walking weapon of mass destruction.
Well, let's
We meet several special grades in the series too.
Let's use terminology that the series would be familiar with. Special grade runs from one of Sukuna's fingers to all 20 of Sukuna's fingers.
And we have a good idea of how powerful everything is because Gojo says that if he were to fight Sukuna at all 20 fingers, he could probably win. Whereas
he does note that
it might be a bit tough for him, but
he said he might have to strain himself a little bit.
Oh dear!
Yeah.
What a horror!
We are also told that Jogo, a special grade curse spirit, is about as strong as 8 to 10 Sukuna fingers.
Good old
It's really
Matsuji.
confusing to refer to the Gojo versus Jogo fight.
Yeah. But yeah, Gojo just curb stomps Jogo.
Well, we haven't finished the Cursed Womb arc yet because because obviously our three heroes are entirely outclassed by the special grade. So
and now we come to one of my favorite parts of any series licensed by Viz. Localization.
Oh, for fuck's sake! What's wrong with this now?
I think territorial expansion sounds better than domain expansion.
You're wrong.
Oh, domain expansion sounds cool to me.
Domain sounds cool.
And it's also because like the word they use for it is like it's look, I'm not gonna go too deep into it. There is one thing though. They do make some of the domain names sound less cool.
I mean, it's really hard to top something like Infinite Void.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of what you might call. It's a matter of how it sounds in one language versus how it sounds. Like, it's much more stylized, right? Like, they use more archaic language. Like, Infinite Void seems just a bit too clinical.
Yeah, but at that point, like, if you constantly try and go for...
Do you know what my problem is? My problem is that it's not localized, but that it's a literal translation.
That sounds about right.
Right?
So Viz can't win.
Yeah, well, it's contextual. But yes, Viz can't win.
I do feel like some of the domain names are really fucking cool. Like, Mahito and Megami have really cool domain names.
But we will get to them when we get to the arcs. So yeah, Sukuna comes out, curb stomps the Cursed Spirit, and then decides to go after Megami, which is, in the anime, is a really fucking good fight.
Oh yeah, that's a great fight. Oh, and he forces Megami to fight him by tearing Yuji's heart out of his chest.
Mm.
And basically holding Yuji's body hostage.
Yeah. Because, hey, Sukuna can heal that. Yuji can't. Because Sukuna can do something called, what is it?
Reverse
curse technique, yeah. Which is basically healing.
Well, not only that, but, like, another thing about Jujutsu Kaisen that's quite surprising for a Jump series especially is the fact that they're not willing to shy away from quite gruesome and, like, very painful injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Like before,
Like, before Sukuna takes over Yuji, Yuji loses a hand and several fingers.
Yeah.
This series this series' obsession with hands is second only to Resident Evil 7 and 8.
I don't
Hands
know.
go through some
Horikoshi.
stuff.
I don't know. Horikoshi's also up
I
there.
was gonna say, I thought you were gonna
Nah,
say
he's
My
more...
Hero and Horikoshi. Because Horikoshi loves his hands.
True, but like the I mean, well, think of it this way. Only Deku has major hand problems in MHA.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, no, you know what I mean. Hand injuries. We all know there's someone with hand problems, but like, you already have one of those in Jujutsu Kaisen as well.
Anyway, eventually Yuji decides, hey, I don't want Megami to die, and so takes over regardless, and fucking dies. Luckily, Sukuna makes a deal, in inverted commas, with him, and heals him. But Gojo decides to hide that Yuji has resurrected, leading to our next arc, the Cursed Training arc.
In which we get the explanation of how cursed energy works. And we also get to see Gojo actually fight an opponent in a full-length battle.
That is... So, you know how Demon Slayer had episode 19 that made people lose their minds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen did that in episode 7.
I still feel like episode 19 only makes people lose their minds if they really haven't watched anime. Like...
No, episode 19 was still legit pretty good.
I feel like I just think it's my bias against Demon Slayer, because that fight really had no narrative weight.
No, it's because it had a cool visual effects and a good song. Right?
But
that's why.
Yeah, but as you said, Jujutsu Kaisen did that in episode 7, then again in episode 12, then again in whatever episode Yuji and Todo versus Hanami was, and then again in episode 23 and 24.
Yeah. There are a lot of good fights.
Can I say something, though? I don't like the effects for Hollow Purple.
Boo.
We'll talk about that when we get
It was a bit underwhelming.
Anyway, we also, as was mentioned before in this arc, get introduced to the second years. Maki Zenin, the cursed weapon expert who can't actually see curses and has to use glasses. Toge Inumaki.
He's also from the Zenin clan, which is probably one of the single most dickish organizations I've seen in recent memory. And the irony is that it seems that way because it very much functions as a traditional patriarchal Japanese clan.
Mm-hmm. But we also have Toge Inumaki, who has cursed
can only speak in salmon.
Who can only speak in rice ball fillings too, because if he says stop, he can make you stop, and if he says die, you could die. He'll probably take some backlash from it, but you'll die. So yeah, he speaks in rice ball fillings to protect himself and everyone around him.
And somehow everyone understands him.
Yeah, and then there's Panda, who's a panda.
No further explanation is required.
Yep. Which is
look,
again.
I just want to say one thing.
I love the scene where Megami introduces Nobara to the.
I was about to say the same thing.
And when he introduces Panda, Nobara's like, "Hey, you're not gonna elaborate on that."
No, but my favorite bit in that scene was the fact that Maki walks up to the grieving Megami and Nobara and goes, "What are you looking so mopey for? What is this, a wake?" And then Panda is just like, "Maki, somebody did die!" And Maki just went, "You should have told me earlier."
I mean, the best thing is
it's one of those things where it seems like Maki's going to be one of those dickish characters, but then you realize it was a legitimate misunderstanding because Panda.
I do love though that like the best thing about Panda is that Panda is actually not a panda.
Panda Janai. I'm fairly sure that was Kiryu as well.
Yes, that was him doing the narration of that episode.
Yeah, Because Yaga, the principal of Jujutsu school is Kazuma Kiryu.
And also Panda's dad, to an extent.
Yeah, as in he actually made Panda.
So yeah,
Cause
we
Yaga,
just get the casual drop that the principal of the Tokyo Prefectural High School can just create life, like real sapient sentient life.
I mean, yeah, it's called having sex, isn't it? Like having children. It's nothing special, fellas. Like, come on.
But anyway,
I could make a joke about dolls here, but out of respect for Yaga, I will not.
I mean,
yeah.
some people treat children like dolls. Anyway.
But anyway,
We keep getting sidetracked.
so we talked about Jogo versus Gojo a little bit, but
Only briefly.
But how Gojo eventually beats Jogo. I mean, we called it a fight. It's really not a fight. Gojo is pretty
It's
much
not
just
a fight.
playing.
It's
He's just
a
playing
squash
with
It's a
Jogo.
squash match.
Yeah.
So for context, Gojo is in a car driving.
No, he's not.
And
He's not driving. He's getting driven by Jiki because
Yeah,
Gojo's
he's
too
in a
powerful to
car.
drive anywhere.
And he basically gets ambushed by a volcano man.
By Mount Fuji Head, yes.
Who is very much kind
And
of
we did get a scene earlier of Mount Fuji Man talking to a dude. We did get that scene, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Chronologically happened. Yeah.
I think we can reveal his name as Geto.
Yeah, so he's talking to Geto and literally incinerates someone by being in the vicinity.
No, he
That's how-
incinerates a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
No. He actually had to try for that. But just his passive body heat was enough to completely, basically scorch someone
thought-
down to the bone that approached him.
I thought that was because because Geto even told him like to calm down because he's going to start like.
Yeah, I think he was getting excited, and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't. Because that was their second waiter that Jogo did that to. He the first waiter showed some sense in a horror movie setting and got the fuck out of there.
And
like,
he is the only person who survived in that restaurant.
If I remember the scene correctly, it was that like he was literally getting hot and bothered, and then Geto was like, "You need to calm down. You're going to cause a scene," and the scene, of course, being everyone fucking dies.
Yeah, he did this purely to vent excitement at the prospect of killing Gojo himself.
Yeah, he very much underestimated Gojo.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so
But-
yeah,
Gojo is at least twice as strong as Jogo.
Oh, that saying twice is a disservice to Jogo.
but yeah,
At
Gojo,
no
do
point
you
during
mean?
this fight did Gojo have to exert himself, even slightly.
In fact,
Yeah,
Gojo was even able to go and pick up Yuji and bring him to the fight, mid-fight.
yeah, like Gojo basically shows off his power, the infinity, whereas things approach.
Can we just Can we talk about the fact that Gojo, who might as well have a stand. He does have a very stand. Okay, there's another thing we should talk about in this series. It
What
follows
now?
the stand format,
Oh yeah, where everyone only has one power.
Yeah.
and well, no, there's generalized powers. Like everyone can enhance their bodies and like
Yeah.
do stuff
Yeah.
like that. But everyone has one specific super
Power.
ability.
Well, yeah, that's
which
curse technique.
Yes, they're not just curse technique. There are generalized curse techniques and learnable curse techniques. The innate curse techniques are something you got it or you don't.
Which upset Yuji because he wanted to do, what was it? A Bankai, a Spirit Gun, Rasengan, and he wasn't able to because he didn't have an innate curse technique.
Well, he doesn't have it in. It has been said that you can get one later on.
Yeah,
Right,
And I think
Gojo mentions that he'll eventually get Sukuna's technique.
Well, he theorized. I think he theorized that would be what happened.
Though he's kind of been separating from that, but yes. the basic gist of it is that everyone has a stand, except they don't look fabulous. They're just abstract concepts.
But yes,
like an otter.
Yes, like an otter.
But basically, what the fight boils down to is their respective domain expansions. Domains being basically the expression of their cursed. Is it their cursed technique, where every hit is guaranteed to hit? Which obviously in the anime, Yuichi Nakamura just goes full ham on that guaranteed. Because why the fuck wouldn't he? And Jogo's is pretty impressive, but not as impressive as Gojo's. This is what I've been trying to wander our way towards. I did get a gif of Infinite Void.
Please, yes, I want to see his beautiful eyes. Oh, God, look at them eyes.
And that, would you?
What did you say?
I think you should take the gif off the stream now before Toei gets on our asses.
Toei had an issue. Toei had an issue with the music, not the actual scene.
Okay, fair enough, but it's Toei. You can never be too careful.
Well, it wasn't Toei. It was somebody. It wasn't Toei. But anyway, so yeah, fucking Gojo finally reveals his eyes, and they are fucking beautiful. But
also, apparently, his blindfold also has magical anti-gravity hair powers. Because his hair is in no way spiky when he doesn't have the blindfold on.
To be fair, it could be. I'm fairly sure it's big enough that it could be holding up his fringe.
Possibly.
No, but like when he takes it off, there's no spiky. But when he has it on, it is Super Saiyan spiky.
Yeah. How much do you want to bet Gojo?
It defies gravity.
How much do you want to bet Gojo just fucking spikes it up himself with cursed energy?
Oh no, absolutely, that's what happens.
100%.
Because he is that kind of person. But the other fight that happens, or the other couple of fights that happen this arc, Toto versus Megami, a lot of curve stomps happen. Aoi Toto, believe he's a first grade sorcerer from the Kyoto school, who is a
third year.
Who is a third year and a fucking hulk of a man. Who introduces himself by asking what Megami's taste in women is like.
He also mentions that if Megami's into men, that's fine too.
Yeah, no, totally
Todo might be a degenerate, but he has standards.
Yes.
Yep.
Inclusive.
Because he even says that his taste in women is tall girls with big butts, and when Megami says it doesn't matter what they look like as long as they've got a good personality, Toto finds that boring as fuck and beats the shit out of Megami for it.
Was it big? No, no.
No, because it
was Yuji.
No, because it was the exact same as Yuji. That was the point.
We'll get to that.
But we will get to that. Yes.
No, I thought it was.
No.
Okay, I may be misremembering the scene, but I thought that Yuji likes butts and Toto likes the other.
No.
No. They both like
exact
same with big butts.
Exact same like.
That was the point. But yeah, doesn't Toto cry because of
Toto cries because of how boring Megami's taste in women is to him. And he's just
also introduced to another second year, another member from the same school as Toto, who is Maki's twin sister Mai, who is significantly less pleasant than Maki.
Which is saying something, because let's be real, Maki's not that pleasant. We just like her because she's a badass.
I mean,
Maki is not. No, so the difference is Maki is acerbic, but she's more of a tsundere. There's no dere with Mai.
But
she's just kind of a dick.
But yeah, she her power is gun.
Todo's power is gun.
Todo's power is to give you the clap.
Well, we'll get to that, but my non-fatally shoots Nobara. Then Maki distracts Mai, and fucking Nobara puts Mai in a chokehold.
Mm-hmm.
But
as it turns out, gun is useless against stranglehold.
How Megami gets out of his fight with Toto is Inumaki and Panda arrive, which leads to another hilarious moment when Todo tells Panda and Inumaki to get Akotsu, the fourth second year, who is in Africa at the time, to basically take part in the coming event, the Kyoto Goodwill event, which is where the two schools will get together and fight each other. Because it's not like
nothing breeds goodwill more than fighting with potentially fatal consequences.
And it's not like they don't have a shortage of Jujutsu sorcerers right now.
I can't help but laugh because I was just thinking like Akotsu bless the rains in Africa.
God,
yeah.
damn
The
it.
funniest part of all this nonsense?
Well, I thought I was about to get to the funniest part of that nonsense, but you say yours first.
Well, I was talking about more the meta nonsense of just how stupid the bureaucracy in the Jujutsu world is. Is not only do they have a shortage, they actively turn people away and refuse to train people for arbitrary reasons.
Yeah.
And just they're very trigger happy with just randomly executing people. Especially they tend to throw out death sentences for their most powerful assets, like they're
Yuji
on sale at the dollar store.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Yuji has a death sentence. They're just waiting until he absorbs all of Sukuna to do it. But what I was going to mention in terms of funny is that when Todo tells Panda and Inumaki to get Akotsu, Panda just goes, "What a pain! Panda, I know understand human speech." Oh,
Look.
I love you, Panda.
If anything happens to Panda, I swear to God.
I just love that in the opening for the anime.
It's just Panda running across rooftops.
Yeah, Panda's contribution is literally just him
parkouring over a roof with his chubby bear body. I've got a gif of that and I love it.
Yeah, I have it on my Discord list of gifs.
But then we get into the versus Mahito arc, which is what ended the what was it? The first core of the first of season.
Okay, I just want to say one more thing about Gojo's powers.
Go ahead.
He literally weaponizes math.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's literally what's it?
Asymptotes and convergent and divergent series. That's literally his power.
Mm-hmm.
Just mind fucks people with the power of mathematics.
Funny thing is that Akutami hates math.
He also hates Gojo though. He also hates Gojo though.
I wish. So here's the thing. Gojo is probably the most fun character in the series. Would you want to know him in real life?
God, no.
No, probably not.
No.
Not unless he literally adopted you from birth.
Well, even
and therefore had an emotional attachment.
Well, that basically happens to Megami, and look how Megami treats Gojo.
Yeah, but like at least Gojo still loves him.
Gojo loves all his students, but the versus Mahito.
You mean his children? Gojo loves all of his adopted children.
The versus Mahito arc introduces another new character on the hero side, Kento Nanami, or Nanami to his friends,
of which he has none.
And his introduction is great because Gojo basically hands Yuji off to him, and Nanami's introductory speech is Jujutsu sorcerers are shit, work is also shit, so I decided to do the thing that I'm better at, which is Jujutsu. It's just like, that's dark.
He's also voiced by the man, the myth, the legend, Millington's favourite voice actor.
Oh God.
Japanese.
Fucking
Sir Kenjiro Suda.
I had no idea. Since I haven't watched any of Nanami's scenes in the anime, I didn't know it was another Kenjiro Suda.
Look, I have a legit gripe with Suda in this role. I think the voice should be deeper.
No, I have a legit gripe with Suda in that he doesn't actually seem to voice act.
I mean, if he's that good at the role, I just
Kind
like
of
the
just
fact
like
that
it's the same voice for every character, and that is very much jarring in some points.
I'd like
He does do some characters differently.
in
It's
defense to it. I
it is
like
there is differences, but it's differences in pitch and speed of speech, I would say.
Yeah, the actual voice is the same overall, and the awkward thing is that he has a very if he had a more
Less
average
distinctive
voice, that would
voice,
be
yeah.
yes,
It
he
would
has a
be absolutely
very
fine.
distinctive voice, and as a result, it's hard to hear the character and instead of just hearing Kenjiro Suda.
But here's the thing: I do think that he is perfect for some roles. I do think he's actually a very good. He's got a very good voice for Nanami. I just think it should have been a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Just add that little bit of gruffness.
I do think he worked his overhaul.
He probably did.
It was great as Overhaul.
And he worked
But
great
there were,
as
like-
Richard Reisman in Apare Ranman.
But there's just sometimes it just like
The one
yes,
the one that
voice acting gripes is
the one that I quote most often is the fucking dude in Special 7. Like, in that episode where he tried to give a motivational speech and just sounded like he could not care less.
yeah. But yes,
But anyway, Nanami. He's also got a really cool power.
it's very. So he
Power
has a
of
power that's
Twitter.
basically a guaranteed damage buff
Mm.
because he never
Power of-
misses.
he has the power of Twitter. He can ratio you to death.
His power is called, what is it, 7 to 3, basically.
I think it's just called ratio, isn't it?
I think it
It's
is probably
ratio.
called ratio,
It's a-
yeah.
So basically, he can divide things up. Basically, anything he wants along a 10-point ratio, and along the 7-3 point is a fracture point that he can cause a critical hit at.
The other portion of his power, which again is fucking great for him, is because of his past career as a salaryman. He only works till 5, and if he is forced to go over that, he goes into overtime and gets a huge fucking buff.
That is one thing I do love about Jujutsu Kaisen is that there's all these, on the surface, arbitrary things, like
Okay,
how
I'm gonna
explaining
say
your-
something that's gonna make about sorry, Kaido, go on.
I was just no, go for it. It's fine.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna make a very large portion of the internet very upset.
Oh,
I
boy.
think Jujutsu Kaisen's innate curse techniques is just Nen powers, but done in a good way.
I'm not getting into this.
I don't think that's.
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not getting
really
into
a bad-
this. I'm not getting into
It's
it.
not really bad. It's not really a bad thing because content is not great, but
There are people
Yeah,
who
it's
disagree with that opinion stringently, but I'm not getting into it today.
Are you one of them, or
I like Hunter
So-
Hunter. It is currently second on my all-time list. So
But-
shut the
but
fuck up.
as I was gonna say though, I like that Jujutsu Kaisen has some of these on the surface arbitrary things that, when put together, make up some very interesting fights. Like how explaining your powers to the enemy.
yeah? I was just gonna
Normally-
say that.
Normally, a
Ex-
trope in media that is completely obnoxious and
Yeah,
just
just
serves to
used to waste
fight,
time. Yeah.
actually has a mechanical buff.
Yeah.
Where doing it actually makes you stronger. Because
Yeah,
the thing is, yeah, sure, you've told the enemy what your power is. Doesn't mean they can counter it or know how to deal with you.
My headcanon is that Gojo's power isn't one of those that needs explaining. He just does it to confuse the fuck out of people.
it's not even that they need explaining. It's that in this, as we saw, there's actually an example of this earlier, where Sukuna is so powerful, but he does have to make a deal.
That
Yeah.
was
Yuji.
another thing I was going to mention as well, is that contracts seems to be quite
Yes,
a
so
big...
basically, in the eyes of the universe, a fight is kind of like a contract or a transaction,
Imagine if that was in
right? On a
Dragon
meta
Ball.
sense. So what they can do is they can by changing the terms of the contract, they can gain benefits or even lose benefits.
Mm-hmm.
It's got there's a strong equivalent exchange vibe. But as opposed to like something like Full Metal Alchemist, where it's a very literal definition of equivalent exchange, here it's very abstract. Like, okay, I told you my powers, therefore my powers will become stronger because you know how they work. So I've given you something. So in exchange, so it's very much, and it can also be unilateral, right? To the point where Jogo, in his fight, well, in his beating against Gojo, actually does wonder if he should try and stop Gojo from explaining the curse technique. This is a universe where not only do they go into where the trope is actually a mechanical part of the magic system, they make attempts to subvert it on purpose.
Also, bring up Jogo as a reminder, we forgot another funny moment at the end of the Gojo versus Jogo fight, which is Jogo escapes because one of his cursed spirit buddies rescues him, and the only reason Gojo doesn't vaporize both of them is because he has to save Yuji, which leads to a hilarious apology where Yuji apologizes but then blames Gojo for it anyway.
We've been talking for a while about, and we have mentioned the versus Mahito arc, but we haven't really talked about much beyond the introduction of Nanami.
Yes, because first we have Mahito, another of this group of cursed spirits, who is, oh boy, is he evil. But
he's also the resident bad touch.
We also have Junpei, this bullied kid who is.
Oh, is that what his name was? So I'm gonna be honest. Who here was not expecting his death? Because the death flags were like, it was pretty obvious that this was one of those characters introduced for the sole purpose of dying.
I didn't expect it.
I mean, it doesn't help that the anime
has him in the OP.
Has him in the OP, yeah.
Biggest bullshit in all of anime.
I mean, at least it's not an OP spoiler, right?
Oh, yeah.
An OP bait and switch is better than an OP spoiler.
Talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, not One Piece. Come on.
It's gonna be months before we get to that arc Kaido plays.
Yes.
Anyway, so Junpei is a bullied boy, and a horrifically bullied boy. In fact, he grows his fringe out because he has a bunch of burn scars on his forehead from where his bullies put out cigarettes.
Yep.
And he gets taken in by he gets taken in by Mahito, who saves him from some of his bullies, and becomes friends with Yuji because Yuji is a sunshine child. And then, as Fuzzy said,
that's a very apt description. To the point that actually, we're gonna get a hint of this later on in Yuji versus Todo. But there's a possibility that Yuji's ability... Again, it's funny how Akutami actively uses tropes and makes them part of the magic system. There are implications that Yuji's ability to make friends and be a sunshine child is magical in nature.
Getting very ahead of ourselves there, aren't we?
No. It's in Yuji versus Todo.
Yeah, the next arc.
Well, nah. It's entirely possible that's just Todo being weird.
Incredibly possible.
Fair enough.
And like nothing like that happens with Junpei. It's just the fact that Junpei is an abused child with no friends, and Yuji, because nobody fucking acts friendly towards him, and Yuji actually talks to him. And not only that, fucking pantses Junpei's teacher to steal Junpei's teacher's pants just because Junpei looked uncomfortable talking to him. Like, if that doesn't make you friends with somebody, I don't know what else will.
Which is what's interesting. It's interesting to think about just on a governmental level how much power the Jujutsu sorcerers actually have.
Mm.
It's like it's not in any way expounded upon in that scene, but it is interesting to think about because clearly it's not like the masquerade can be maintained by just the Jujutsu sorcerers, right?
Mm. Yeah. But yes, as Fuzzy alluded to, Mahito eventually kills Junpei right in front of Yuji because Mahito's power.
Oh, he does worse than kill him.
Yeah, Mahito's power is the ability to touch and reform somebody's soul.
And changing the shape of someone's soul actually changes the shape of their body too.
In a horrifically body horror way.
Yeah, Mahito is the body horror character in this series.
90% about Yuji though is that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
90% of the entries on the Nightmare Fuel TV tropes page for Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty much Mahito.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unsurprising.
Again, he's Shiggy if Shiggy was,
scary.
Kind of scary and interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
The good thing about Mahito is though, when Yuji does come to blows with Mahito, Yuji has another soul inside of him with Sukuna, which means the moment when Mahito does try and do his bad touch, he pisses off Sukuna.
Yeah, which is pretty great.
Which nearly kills him.
Which basically gives Yuji a complete get out of free card.
Yeah, it basically makes Yuji Mahito's worst enemy.
And then later on, when Mahito gets is in such a state of ecstasy from getting beaten up on by two men.
I'm not even going to correct you. I'm not going to correct that one because that's actually true.
Basically, he gets off on being pounded by two twunks, and okay.
Nanami is a dilf, not a twunk.
So Look, I don't know the terminology as well.
No, he's only 28, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 28, but he looks about 40.
No, he's 27 because Gojo's like older than quite a few of the faculty staff, even though he's
Gojo is a year older than Nanami, and it doesn't look it.
But yeah, as I was going to say though, Mahito gets so excited that he awakens to a domain with loads of hands. Which means
self-embodiment of perfection.
Flexed on everyone's shit.
Because he can touch souls in the domain, and the domain means you always hit. When Yuji busts into the domain, it means Mahito, of course, can't not touch Sukuna.
Yeah, and Sukuna's like, fuck you, slice in the shoulder.
We had a good time laughing at that poor child who was traumatized and like dead. I'll let you have this one.
That's the other thing. Like fucking Sukuna does not help Yuji at all. Like
just
Yuji
going into despair.
I'm fairly sure Yuji actually asked Sukuna to try and heal Junpei, and Sukuna just fucking laughs his head off.
That is exactly what happens. Yes.
To be fair, I couldn't help but laugh just because they were laughing.
Like that's another nightmare fuel scene, just because because both Mahito and Sukuna are laughing, but yeah, Mahito gets away, and Yuji has taken a beating by this point, so they can't follow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Yuji fucking hates Mahito, and it is great because at the start of the series, Yuji was a fairly typical shonen protag of Sunny with a goal he wanted to do. In this arc, he gets fucking angry.
It's nice seeing a main shonen protagonist like actively feel malice, and want to harm someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen it with a few others, like with Luffy a couple times before, and with I think Goku once or twice, but it's very rare.
But yeah, there is no talk no jutsu in this scenario. Yuji is gonna kill Mahito or die trying.
Yep.
Also, Goku doesn't count because death has no meaning in Dragon Ball.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
He still does actively wish that he's going to make Frieza suffer when he goes Super Saiyan.
Hmm.
Yeah,
is
but
sometimes
it's kind of
actively
look. We all know that Goku's reason for going Super Saiyan is like the flimsiest thing on the planet because there's
Also, like,
just
it
Well,
still
no,
doesn't.
he didn't know that the Namekian Dragon Balls could bring people back multiple times.
Not even that, but like, there's still the trauma of your best friend being murdered, regardless if you can bring him back from the dead. Like, you just watch your friend explode into chunks.
Hmm.
I think that would be upsetting for anyone.
yes, it would be very upsetting for everyone. I am totally not suggesting that it would not be. I'm completely standard human being. Anyway, moving on from
I
that.
thought you were a duck.
Anyway, moving on to the formerly mentioned Kyoto Goodwill event arc, which is just fucking hype city in terms of the anime, because it took up a good 3/4 of the second core and never got old. Because it also started with Yuji having to reveal that he was still alive to his friends, who would surely react positively, and would react so positively that it would solve global warming, according to Gojo. They do not react well.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair,
Oh God.
they really should be mad at Gojo, and also Megami is basically the closest thing. Like Gojo is the closest thing Megami has to a father, which is terrifying.
It is
Uh-huh.
utterly terrifying.
But he really should have expected something like that, right? Like it should not surprise him that Gojo would make him do that.
Yeah. But yeah, like I love that scene so much because just like fucking Nobara and Megami are just fucking appalled. Maki, Inumaki, and Panda are just like, okay, this is
Who's this?
Gojo again. This is Gojo being Gojo then. The Kyoto students are too busy looking at the souvenirs that Gojo brought back from his trip with him. And Gojo is too busy fucking taunting Kyoto's principal Gakuganji to actually, like, explain anything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of spinning cogs in this arc.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we get to basically what is the team on team fight. Ostensibly, they are supposed to hunt for a particular cursed spirit that they are supposed to exercise, but the Kyoto school throws all that out the window because all of them except Todo decide. Well, they don't decide it. They are ordered by Gakuganji to kill Yuji.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, Todo is having none of that shit because Yuji has become his best friend because Yuji has the same taste in women as him.
I died laughing at the scene where Toto has the fake flashback to the time that Toto gets
Todo
rejected by his crush in his own fantasy and gets comforted by Yuji.
Yeah.
Toto literally like creates an entire fictional backstory with Yuji in his life through a "I see you are a fellow man of culture" moment.
Yeah.
And it's glorious.
It is glorious.
Because
Is it just me, or do y'all keep staring at Yuji's tongue in our
It's
stream
just
image?
you.
I'm staring at
some
Gojo
of
and
the-
Nobara.
Look, something about that tongue is weirding me out.
I'm looking for shoes as we talk right now.
It's just a little bit too thick.
Anyway, being best
yeah,
friends is not going to stop Todo from fighting Yuji, though. And they have a really fucking good hand-to-hand fight.
It turns out, though, all world conflicts can be solved by just admitting that you like Jennifer Lawrence, and the other person mutually agreeing that she is indeed very attractive.
Mm.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah. But while that is happening, everyone pairs off. The first fight is between Panda and the Kyoto School's Mekamaru, who is a Mekamaru is an actual person, but they have a heavenly restriction, which means they are basically trapped in a dark room in a bath.
So it's like Pain in Naruto.
Yes.
Except well executed.
Yes.
My pain is greater than yours. He literally has a
No.
my pain is greater than yours.
No, he
moment.
literally says that because Panda just assumes that he's a cursed corpse like him, and fucking Mekamaru takes that badly, and that's where the Panda screenshot that I've been using so liberally comes from, because Panda's expecting Mekamaru to be around the same grade as he is, maybe a little bit stronger, and then he's like 2 or 3 grades higher, and Panda's just like, wait, what? Nobody told me this was going to happen.
I mean, the best bit is, though, is when Panda is fighting Mekamaru, is that, like, he still manages to keep through the fight. In spite of what should be a power gap. And you also find out is that his dad is also kind of, like, loves to knit teddies.
Well, we already knew that, but we didn't know about the fact that...
It's just funny seeing him be like an actual dad to this Panda teddy he's just knitted.
It is great. I love Panda, and that's where the Panda Janai comes from. Because he's not a panda; he's a cursed corpse with 3 cores inside of him. One is his general panda. He's got gorilla core, which is I think just attack. And then
also he does refer to them as his brother and sister.
Yes, and his
we haven't seen his shy sister yet.
Yes, but I have a feeling it'll be something to do with stealth.
Well, there is a bit of an implication that the sister might also be the most powerful one.
Very much so.
It would explain why Akutami decided to have that core be the first ones to be taken out.
Yeah. Because Mekamaru destroys 2 of Panda's cores, leaving him only with Gorilla Core, which is actually very energy intensive. Thankfully, Panda manages to bluff where that core is, and then beats the shit out of Mekamaru.
Yep.
It's very glorious.
Yeah. Then we get to Nobara versus Momo. Momo being basically a witch. She rides a broom, and I'm fairly sure.
Her thing is that she has wind manipulation powers that she uses to get the whole flying witch aesthetic down.
To be honest, that was probably my least favorite bit of the arc. But that's just because everything else afterwards is also just so great.
I mean, that particular fight is great because Momo tries to lecture Nobara about how about my struggles and about how women have unfair expectations put on them in the Jujutsu world, and Nobara just says, "Doesn't matter what Mai's problems are. That doesn't mean she has to be a dick."
Exactly, and that's something that so many other... And this is something that, let's be real, Demon Slayer suffered from an excess of.
Did it?
Yes, the whole... but this horrific, borderline genocidal character has a tragic backstory, so you should feel bad.
Yeah, every single Moon had a fucking tragic backstory, and it fucking sucked. But yeah, Nobara basically just says, "I don't give a shit about men this or women that. I love myself when I'm pretty and all dressed up, and I love myself when I'm strong. Fuck you, hairpin."
A Freudian excuse is no excuse.
Yeah,
it's just like that's something that so many works of fiction seem to not ever address, is the fact that yes, okay, just because you have struggles doesn't mean you have to add to other people's struggles by being a dick about it.
Yeah, and then Nobara takes out a squeaky hammer and beats the shit out of Momo, and would have knocked Momo out if it wasn't for Mai shooting her at the last second and knocking her out. Which then takes us to our next fight. Well, first we've got
Maki versus Miwa.
Yeah, we've got poor Miwa. Miwa asked Mai prior to the event how strong Maki was, and Mai said, "Oh, she's still a grade 4 and she can't even see curses. How weak is she?" But because Miwa is a fucking melee fighter with her sword, Maki beats the shit out of her and then steals said sword just for fun.
That's kind of the sad thing with both Miwa and Mai. They just kind of job quite easily.
Yeah,
But
poor
I mean,
Miwa. I
to be
feel
fair,
Look, there's a lot
though.
of reasons to feel sorry for Miwa.
I
Like-
mean, it doesn't help that both their powers are also just incredibly mediocre. Like, Kyoto was basically relying on Todo to hard carry them.
Yeah.
Kyoto does have the best curse technique out of all the.
Yeah,
The thing is, and this
Yeah,
is an
give him
interesting
clap.
thing, is that we'll get to Boogie Woogie in a second. But the fascinating thing about curse techniques and innate curse techniques is that a lot of them are in no way offensive,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of them don't actually directly deal damage.
Mm.
The fact of the matter is, even without his curse technique, Todo is just very strong.
Mm.
Yep.
He's just a very chunky boy who can
Todo is
hit
just-
things very
Toto
hard.
is strong enough that he only needed to use his curse technique to defeat a special grade.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, it's like, imagine if Juggernaut was just given something else on top of what he already has.
But yeah,
That's the thing is that what's interesting. That's the reason people in universe are told not to put too much stock in innate curse techniques or inherited curse techniques, because at the end of the day, if you can't actually hit things hard enough, then no amount of innate curse techniques will make you stronger.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is specifically said that in a particular incident that is actually the heart of the Volume 0 prequel, that Todo took out a bunch of cursed spirits, something like 4 grade 2, 2 grade 1s, and a special grade, and as we said, only had to use his curse technique on the special grade.
And what's funny is that makes the curse technique seem like this major power. No, it's just a teleport.
Yeah.
It's not even a teleport, it's a position swap.
Well, again,
Occasionally
this...
clap.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why Todo's is so good is because he uses it intelligently. Like...
Well, it's simple, but it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So basically, it's basically an extremely specific scenario. He can swap the position of 2 things when he claps.
You can swap the position of 2 things with cursed energy.
Yeah.
I thought you could also use regular objects as
No, I
swaps.
don't think so, because in the fight with Hanami, he specifically has to swap Yuji with the cursed weapon.
Oh, right. They use cursed weapons. Hang on, I'm actually gonna look this up.
I think that's what it is.
It also helps that Todo is canonically Giga Brain. Like
he has 530,000 IQ.
He can process entire massive conversations in the span of like a millisecond. Because again, he's just that Giga Brain.
So yeah, so Maki fucking curb stomps Mai, and then we get the final fight, because Inumaki is just going around picking up cursed spirits, you know, the point of the game. Meanwhile, Megami is facing off against Noritoshi Kamo, who wields blood manipulation.
One of my favorite powers.
It is a pretty cool power. Unfortunately, their fight is interrupted because one of the cursed spirits attack via Hanami, the nature spirit. And oh boy, is it fucking strong. And Hanami basically takes out Megami, Kamo, and Inumaki. Thankfully, Todo and Yuji arrive, and again, glorious Sakuga ensues.
God, that fight in general is just really well animated.
I mean, what was really good is that Todo refuses to fight with Yuji until Yuji lands what Todo considers a proper hit, because previously he'd been using what he was calling Divergent Fist, where he was hitting, and then his cursed energy was hitting afterwards, which Todo really despised.
Oh, we should talk about Yuji's overall fighting style a little bit, because he has two things that kind of set him apart. And first is the Divergent Fist, and the second is that his attacks are unpredictable to Jujutsu sorcerers, and both stem from the fact that he has really poor control.
Yeah,
of his cursed energy.
He basically fights like a normal, and what makes it work because he's used to, not really. He's used to the fact that his cursed energy isn't incredibly good, so he has to rely on his brute strength.
But yeah, Todo doesn't like that style, so he forces Yuji to fight Hanami until he can land a proper hit, which he does in emphatic fashion with a black flash.
So a black flash, for those who don't know, is when when a physical hit and a cursed energy hit occur near simultaneously, within a trillionth of a second of each other.
Is it a trillionth of a second? Hang on, I'm gonna check how many zeros there are.
I love the fact that like Hanami is having this interview. Nanami, sorry, is having Nanami is having an interview talking about the Black Flash, and he says, "Yeah, I've only been able to get like 4 in a row."
Yeah.
Well, no, it is actually.
I believe he says that's the record.
Yeah, the record is 4 in a row, and no, the reason they is that it's actually also it's only 1/1,000,000th of a second.
Okay.
Okay. That seems more
plausible. A lot of
only 1/1,000,000th of a second.
I mean, it's only like getting nat 20 on every attack in D&D.
Yeah.
And the thing is, apparently, no Jujutsu sorcerer can use it at will. Because, like, this isn't even I don't even know if this is a spoiler. I don't think it's actually happened. But, like, let's be real. If ever a battle shonen tells you, but no one can actually pull this off, someone is going to figure out how to pull it off. And it's probably going to be Yuji.
I think it helps the fact that when Yuji does bust it out, it helps the fact that, like, he doesn't really have a curse technique anyway.
Yeah.
So him mastering that is, like, the thing he needs to have.
Yeah.
Like, also, because he's been so used to Divergent Fist and relying on that, he has gotten used to learning how to manage his cursed energy outputting the moment he makes contact. It also helps that the boss fight of the arc, is the perfect enemy, because it won't exactly die in one hit.
Yeah, Hanami keeps kicking, but that's when Todo joins the fight.
Gojo.
No, Todo.
Oh, we should also talk about the mechanic of how they kept Gojo out of the fight.
Well, we'll get to that. I'm still talking about Todo. I'm still talking about Boogie Woogie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. Oh no, I was never.
I'm still talking about Boogie Woogie because the reason why it works so well in this particular instance is because Todo is a fucking Hulk, and Yuji, while he's not, he's not short, he's just not the size of Todo. Like, the fact that they keep switching positions means that Hanami is always looking and aiming at the wrong place with their attack.
Yeah. Well, also, we should mention Boogie Woogie specifically. So whenever Todo claps his hands, he can switch the places of any two people in his vicinity, including himself. But he does not have to switch people's places when he claps his hands.
Yeah.
Not only that, he can also switch his opponent's place.
Yeah.
Because he did that because in the 530,000 IQ scene, he's
God,
just
yeah.
like, victory is ours, charges forward and then gets caught by a branch and thrown towards some spikes just with the funniest face, but then he activates Boogie Woogie and sends Hanami into the spikes. But the other massive IQ moment for Todo was one of Hanami's attacks is these cursed buds that feed on cursed energy. And that's how Megami got taken out of the fight. And his Todo's initial instinct, seeing them coming, is to harden his body with cursed energy, as you normally would with an attack. But then he goes into basically his mindscape and talks with his favorite idol, Takada-chan, and they re-examine the attack, and Todo realizes what he needs to do, and he's just so insane, and I love him.
Again, Todo is canonically Giga Brain.
He
Like,
is. He's
it's
so
why-
fucking
It's
smart.
why
He's just galaxy brain.
Um, but yeah, but as Fuzzy was saying, the reason why Gojo's not here taking care of this is because the cursed spirits, a cursed user, Juzo, put up basically a barrier that was specifically anti-Gojo.
So, in keeping with the theme of specific restrictions, they're called binding vows, by the way,
Yes.
in this. So, heavenly restriction is, for example, one of the most severe kinds of binding vows that's put in place at birth.
Mm-hmm.
Also, very ethically questionable, but
Oh, absolutely.
what we learn,
especially considering
what we
you know the two people that we know have heavenly restrictions, Mekamaru and Maki, is clearly made their lives worse.
the worst part is that the people who put the heavenly restriction on them then go on to say, well, you're bad because you have heavenly restriction on you. I'm like, you little...
Yeah. The Zenins fucking suck.
We see later examples of heavenly restriction, and they also have the same shitty situation, similar shitty situations.
Basically, the idea is that it's... First of all, it's not a two-faction system. It's a three-faction system.
Yes, because there are three main clans. There's the Zenins, there's the...
No, that's not what I mean. There's the curses, there's the Orthodox Jujutsu sorcerers, which are the three clans and the existing bureaucracy, and then there's whatever the hell Gojo is doing.
Not wrong.
Not wrong.
Because here's the thing. Curses versus Jujutsu sorcerers is not a battle of good versus evil. It's not even a battle of gray versus gray. It's a battle of evil versus evil. Because, like, in any other series, if curses did not exist, the Jujutsu sorcerers would be the bad guys. Right? The majority of them are kind of the Nazi who is just following orders faction, and the people in power are just actually
well,
evil.
very specifically, the Kyoto students, other than Todo, had no problem killing Yuji. Just because they got ordered
did not.
And
Todo's
been...
At least Miwa apologizes about it.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, the fact that they didn't really know Yuji and they know him.
But no, it's just that the idea that killing someone is wrong, like killing. Basically, they don't do it because of the circumstances. They kill Yuji because they've been told by their elders. Like, they're indoctrinated.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. They have been indoctrinated from birth.
And the only one of them who doesn't, obviously Todo, doesn't do it because he thinks it's wrong. He just doesn't want to be given orders.
No, but here's the other thing. The reason Todo is a rebel is because he's not from a sorcerer family.
And that is very much
Ew, Todo?
Yeah,
Todo explicitly has not been indoctrinated as much as the rest because he's not from a background. He's essentially just a dude who had the potential and got into the school.
Well,
Yeah.
we got a glimpse at Toto's mentor. We'll get more from her later on, but
Still don't know what her power is, though.
it does rather explain why Toto is like he is.
Yeah. There's
Um,
also come to think of it, I don't think Yuji or Nobara are from sorcerer families
No,
to
they
them.
aren't.
Not based off of
Nobara
anime
is
content.
kind of from a branch, like, in the stick. Like, her family, like, for example, her curse technique is
inherited.
her innate curse technique is inherited, yes.
But she is very much don't give a fuck about whatever you say, because I'm fairly sure.
No, it's more that no one actually ever bothered with her family because they're not one of the great clans. They're not one of the major families. They're just kind of a random family with a little inherited curse technique that has never.
To explain, the three great clans are, I believe, Zenin, Kamo, and Gojo. And Gojo is the current head of the Gojo clan because he is so fucking strong.
Gojo is the current head of the Gojo clan because no one is.
I mean, he's basically
no.
He's basically Ethan from the first couple of Cradle books.
He is. I was gonna say this. I didn't want to say it too much because of Jack, but like, Gojo is Ethan.
Yeah.
Right. Just consistently. No, Gojo is what would happen if Ethan had met them at full power, already at the end of his journey.
Yeah, like they are very similar. Ethan and Gojo are very similar characters, and it's great. But yes, Gojo eventually gets through the anti-Gojo veil because he's Gojo. Fucking curb stomps the cursed user Juzo, who is incredibly insane. But he does it by fucking like destroying all 4 of Juzo's limbs. And then fucking blasts Hanami with Hollow Purple, which is a combination of Curse Technique Amplification Blue and Curse Technique Reversal Red, which is basically it's basically a giant fucking cannon of energy.
So for context, it's even better than that. His regular Curse Technique is blue, right? Which is the ability to
repel.
Attract thing. Well, no.
Is it attract or I thought it was repel?
It's not attract or repel. It's divergence and convergence. Blue is divergence. And no. Blue is convergence. Red is divergence.
Yeah.
And basically, blue is his normal technique. Red is when he uses reverse cursed energy, and purple is essentially the equivalent of mashing matter and antimatter together.
Mm-hmm.
Big boom.
Yeah.
I will say I did not like the fact that it was CG in the anime.
I don't care.
You know, I liked that because it represented how alien the technique was and how crazy it was.
Well,
I've stopped caring about CG as long as it's done well.
No, that's the thing is it looked a bit jarring, and also I don't like the fact that it was a ball. I would have preferred a beam. Because it's not actually clear in or even not invisible, but like it's not actually clear in the manga whether it's a ball or a beam.
I mean, that's just
you only see the beginning and the end. You never see the travel time.
I mean, that's just Mappa with the adaptation. It's not really their fault. They didn't really have an in between to work with, did they?
I mean, hell,
but like,
they might have consulted Akutami, and he said it was more like a ball than a beam.
Well, no, because specifically how it works, we'll get an explanation for how it works later, but essentially it creates in the same way, it basically, look, this is a bit of armchair physics that is theoretically
I'm going to read the wiki for this. Satoru snaps his fingers, combining blue attraction and red repulsion, generating a singularity where both effects are combined, creating a distortion in the fabric of space at an atomic level, deleting and erasing all matter in its path instantly.
So what you're saying is that it's not a ball or a beam, it's just instant. Or at least it should be.
I don't care. It looked great. I thought it looked great. And it fucking damn near killed Hanami. It didn't kill Hanami. It damn near killed him.
I mean, it only didn't kill Hanami because Gojo wasn't really particularly trying to kill him.
but then we get to the end of the arc. Our nice heroes, Nobara, Megami, and Yuji are just happily eating pizza together and vowing to get stronger. And in pops Toto, just as I expected of my brother, of my brother's friend. Sorry.
Wait, he's gotten an upgrade from best friend to brother.
Yeah. And then Yuji is just the way Toto's voice actor says brother in English is just so great.
It's wonderful.
Does he
I just
Hulk
love him.
Hogan it?
Basically,
Or not Hulk Hogan, what's his face? You know who I'm talking about.
No, it's Hulk Hogan.
No, Bonesaw is ready. The one who's died.
Macho Man?
Yes, Macho Man Randy Savage, yes.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's just a very hammy, like, English pronunciation of brother, and it's just great.
It is.
So we then get a cooldown episode from all those fights with Jujutsu Koshien, because the second round of the Goodwill event, which is usually one-on-one fights, is actually a baseball match because Gojo messed with the ballot.
You just straight up rigged it, yeah.
Yeah. It's just so great because this is one of the few moments I think the anime did it better than the manga, because they added fucking introduction bars with inane facts and statements.
Which is just beautiful, yes.
Yeah, because there was Miwa's was the mango she was letting ripen in the refrigerator is gone, and then Mai's later on was hates mangoes but got over it recently.
That's great.
Toto's was won the middle school nationals with Itadori. Itadori denies this. And then
there's pandas.
The crowning moment, which is wants to punch a zebra someday.
Which I like. I'm very proud of Panda for having such noble goals.
And it's just great because. What was that, Kato?
Fuck zebras. All my homies hate zebras.
But it's just such a fun episode because fucking Kamo comes up to bat and starts talking with Itadori, who's the catcher, and he's so busy talking with Yuji that he just doesn't swing, and so gets struck out immediately. And then you've got the Tokyo school batting. Nobara's up first and charges the mound because the Kyoto school is using a pitching machine in place of Mekamaru. it's just Nobara just getting angry and just charging the mound. It's just
it's very her.
Yeah, and then Panda is second up to bat, I believe, and just the huffing he makes as he makes it to base is just so fucking hilarious to me. It's like just stops as his chubby bare body jiggles, and then Maki is the cleanup hitter, fucking smacks it high, expecting to have basically gotten a home run and get 3 runs. Unfortunately, because of lack of players, each side is able to use, or one person on each side is able to use a curse technique, and Nishimiya is using her broom and catches it.
Oh no.
And just the expression on everyone's faces.
Hey, having an outfielder who can fly is kind of broken, honestly.
No, it fucking worked well. It was just the looks on their faces, and it was just like Yuji and Inumaki on the bench are getting really angry, and Megami's just going, Kugisaki, go back. And then
and even Maki gets annoyed by this.
Yeah. Oh no, Maki gets pissed by it. But then the coup de grace, which is
Inumaki.
Oh, Inumaki. Yeah, Inumaki. Yeah, Inumaki gets really fucking into it. But the coup de grace is that Kyoto's next at bat, Toto, comes up and says, I want a battle with Pitcher Itadori. Promise me, brother, if I hit a home run at this bat, you will pitch, and then fucking Maki purposefully just chucks the ball right in Toto's face, knocking him out.
Everyone congratulates her for it.
And everyone just keeps going, nice pitch, nice pitch. Even
it's just great.
Even fucking Megami's demon dog fucking joins in and barks. And Itadori's just like, Toto, you are really hated. Oh, I love that episode so much. I wish there were more like it. Because the final arc of the season is the Death Paintings arc. Which starts hilariously because we get more of Yuji, Megami, and Nobara interacting, and that's always hilarious. Because Yuji and Nobara's IQs drop at least 50 points when they're together.
Mm-hmm. They share one brain cell between the two of them.
They absolutely do.
And Megumi is just so done with everything.
Well, it's hilarious because they're investigating. They investigate a middle school because some alumni from it have died. And it turns out it's actually Megami's middle school, and they come across two basically delinquents. And like, first Nobara suggests beating them up just for the fun of it, and then they like are immediately respectful once they see Megami because he's beaten up every like punk, delinquent, and anyone else with a bad attitude. Beat every single one of them up in that area. just how embarrassed about it Megami was. Just so fucking hilarious.
And also, we learn about Megami's sister. At least a little bit.
Yes, Megami has a sister, but she is
comatose.
Yeah.
Yes, the stock, very ill family member of the protagonist.
Well, to be fair, it's not an illness, it's a curse.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
There's always one of them. It's either an illness or a curse or some sort of ancient sealed demon or what have you. It's you know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, as it turns out, the thing that links all of these deaths is a test of courage at Yasuhachi Bridge. And upon hearing that people used to bungee jump off of it, Yuji just says, I'm surprised there are people dumber than me.
I love it when they're self-aware. Luffy does this sometimes occasionally as well, and you know that when you're comparing a protagonist positively to Luffy, it's like, well, Nakatomi did something right.
It's not even the first time Yuji's done that, because when he was fighting Toto and got his head slammed against a tree multiple times, it's just like, why did you do that? You could have made me dumber than ever. It's just...
But no, can I just say one thing that I meant to say at the beginning?
Yeah.
So,
what?
I read this, when I read the summary of this series, or not the summary, but the blurb, you know what I'm talking about, the blurb of the series, it mentioned Yuji and Megumi, and I was unaware that Megumi could be a boy's name.
Ah, yes.
So I thought they were setting up the tsundere relationship dynamic.
Nope.
Well, I was kind of right.
I mean, yes, you will not believe how many fanfiction there are out there that do use that dynamic.
Fun fact, actually. In an interview, Akutami said that the only character in the series that he could see having a romance arc is Miwa. He doesn't really see himself writing a romance for any of the other characters.
Oh, Miwa.
About that... I believe it's already happened.
Yeah.
In the manga.
Spoilers, Fuzzy, for fuck's sake.
Look, but no. I'm also saying it's refreshing that there's not some sort of contrived love triangle.
Yes.
In the main three, in which both Megami and Nobara are trying to bang Yuji.
No, clearly it's a menage a trois.
Honestly, like
It is in
I'd
the
be
fan
fine.
fictions you read, Mill.
Look,
Honestly,
I just
I
want to
would
see
not
them
care
happy.
however they did it because, like, I love the dynamic between the main trio, and even just them staying as friends would be great because they are just such great friends.
Yeah,
You know
look,
what's funny?
I just want to see those kids happy, and if it means reading shipping fics when I don't necessarily ship them together, I don't give a shit. I just want to see them happy.
Fair.
I'm sure that's your only motivation.
It is.
Fun fact, like with many of the more recent, like some of the more niche, well, not many, just this is something that Jujutsu Kaisen has in common with Black Clover. The majority of the dojins are yaoi,
Mm.
which is
I am
interesting.
not surprised. Yami has a huge Baro fan base.
I mean,
Oh yes, no, there's a lot of
the
bara yami,
majority,
and the rest is for some reason almost exclusively UGX Nobara.
Hmm.
I I'm very curious as to why that is.
because they clearly have a good relationship with each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, but at no point does it seem romantic in any way.
That's
yeah.
never stopped anyone
That
before.
doesn't shut.
No,
Oh,
but
Since
like
when
you
has
think
that
they're
stopped
okay.
any
No, but
shippers
like no.
ever?
You think that they'd have a bit more variety, right?
Yeah.
I think with
There's a
some
lot of
shows
Toto
though,
as well for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
I don't think it helps that like a lot of the time, there's not a lot. There's either not a lot of variety in characters that people want to ship with.
But I've also noticed that a lot of the fan art of that nature is almost exclusively Nobara as well.
I mean, she's the first female that you see who's very prominent, so it's probably that.
Anyway,
But you're really gonna leave me?
getting back to
Yes.
the
Okay.
arc. Um, the trio investigate Yasahachi Bridge and launch Yuji off it to test if it is the bungee jumping in particular, which horrifies their manager. I'm not really sure what role like
Handler. Handler is
handler.
probably the best.
Yeah.
Their
So
handler
we haven't
Nita.
talked about the auxiliary division yet.
Yeah. They are people who can see
Handle the
curses.
busy work.
Yeah, they handle the busy work. They can cast barriers, which they call, I believe, curtains. Um, can they see cursed spirits and just can't like?
Yes, they have
Yes.
cursed energy. You have
Yeah.
to have cursed energy to be.
Yeah,
They just
Like, you can't cast the
can't do
barrier without the
shit.
cursed energy.
yeah.
They just can't do shit besides making barriers
Yeah.
and seeing cursed spirits.
Sometimes it's not even that they can't. Sometimes it's just that it's the career option for people with cursed energy who don't want to fight
Yeah,
and put their lives on the line.
yeah. Poor Ajichi is basically just abused by Gojo.
Look, I'm sure
Isn't he,
Gojo
like,
cares
the-
about him in his own way. I think it would probably be easier on whatever his name is if Gojo didn't like him as much.
Hmm.
The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure working with Gojo has aged him 10 years because he's 2 years younger than Gojo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gojo is one of the older members of the cast, but he's still like he looks so delicious.
He looks.
I mean young. I mean tasty. I mean look,
But yeah.
Gojo's eyes do things to me.
But yeah, they instead of Ijichi, on this occasion the trio have Nita, who looks far younger and acts far younger. Because at one point when she gets an idea, she goes, "What was it? Ding dong or something like that, or ding ding," and it's just like fucking Yushi and Nobara completely in sync again. Are like in like. Sort of shocked at how adorable it was, I think.
It was pretty adorable.
But anyway, the trio end up under the bridge in fighting another one of another type of the cursed spirit from the cursed room arc. And unlike last time, where they had to rely on Sukuna, they show their strength because when two cursed spirits called Eso and Kichitsu interrupt and take away Yuji and Nobara, fucking Megami solos that special grade cursed spirit.
Yeah.
By awakening the early form of his domain.
Chimera Shadow Garden.
Which is a fucking great name for a domain.
Yeah. And like, fucking Megami goes full feral, and it's fantastic. And it is really interesting because it's spawned.
No, it should be noted that it's not complete yet.
No, it's not complete yet at all, and he calls it a sloppy domain, and yet he still manages to take out this special grade. But
he is right though in that it is sloppy because it's not enclosed properly.
Yeah, but it's
didn't need to be though, did it?
No, it didn't. But it's spawned by a pep talk Gojo gave him because during the baseball episode, Megami very specifically bunted and sacrificed himself to let I think Nobara get further.
Mm-hmm.
And Gojo takes very close note of that, and it's again very interesting how Jujutsu Kaisen showed a character aspect like that, and in such a basically joking and cool down episode.
In what would essentially be a filler episode in any other series.
Yeah, and basically says, "Look, Megami, you're too defensive. Basically, you need to let go."
So we should specify what exactly it is that. So his incomplete domain doesn't have a guaranteed hit technique, and it's not inescapable, like it's not enclosed. However, it does enhance his. It gives him the buffs.
Well, it allows him to summon multiple Shikigami, and
or rather, the shadows of those Shikigami.
Yes,
apparently.
And I think, could he bring back ones that had died?
No, but he could make full use of their power by infusing them into other ones.
Yes.
Because normally the power trickles down, as you said. It doesn't. They don't get access to all of it, but
for example, he had two demon dogs at the start of the series. One of them dies really early on, but the remaining one is basically almost twice as strong as it originally was, thanks to inheriting the other.
It's a little bit stronger normally. However, he's able to improve it to the point that it becomes more than twice as strong.
Yeah, and that's how he defeats the curse. At which point he manages to gain the Sukuna finger that was causing this, and then promptly falls asleep.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Yuji and Nobara are facing off against Eso and Kichitsu, two of three brothers. Let's just say their backstory is incredibly dark, and leave it at that.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea just how dark that backstory gets, and how.
I'm not going to talk about it in detail.
But
it will be. We'll get to that later. It'll probably be
basically,
basically
they have poisonous blood that they can use to activate their rot technique, and they managed to hit both Yuji and Nobara with it. Unfortunately for them, they picked the two worst opponents to hit it with, because Nobara can use resonance to cause both Eso and Kichitsu pain. She does this, by the way,
by blood as a medium.
Yeah, she does this by fucking pushing nails through her own wrist and activating it, because their blood is inside her. And Yuji, because the rot technique is technically a poison, and Sukuna is the king of poisons, Yuji is not affected by the poison aspect and the pain, and if it's just pain, then Yuji can move and beat the shit out of anything that moves. And in the anime, like, I read the fight in the manga this morning. The anime does it so much better. just because
No,
of the
I will
song.
say that there is a bit of a weakness on Akutami's parts with the fights because he tends to favor very kinetic fights, which hard to do with manga.
But no,
Yeah.
I mean, Jack and I talked about this in the winter anime wrap up. This episode 24 is superb, and that fight scene with fucking Remember by Cold Rain is just incredible.
Honestly, the last 2 episodes of the anime elevated it from a 9.5 to a 10 in my book.
But so yeah, so Nobara takes down Kachitsu, which is the youngest brother, using a hairpin, just in a fucking brutal manner. Like, no, we said that Megami went feral against the Sukuna Finger Spirit. Nobara went feral here as well, and oh Jesus. And then, well, no, first both Yuji and Nobara used Black Flash.
At the same time.
Yeah,
synchronized.
synchronized. And then, because Yuji's Black Flash blasted off Aso's arm, Nobara was able to use Resonance to basically stop Aso in his tracks and allow Yuji to hit the killing blow. Yeah.
Yuji does land the killing blow, but he feels bad about it because Eso is crying over his brother.
I will say you could
go ahead.
Probably make an argument for these guys being a bit more sympathetic because we'll get to the details later, but I will say that these two are more sympathetic in hindsight than
no, they are
the standard. Huh?
No, they absolutely are. I mean, just from what we saw here, just the fact that they weren't just mindless curses causing chaos, but they had people they cared about. Because certainly Mahito doesn't give a shit about anyone other than himself, which is the main curse cursed spirit that Yuji has come across. But then that results in a really good, really nice conversation between Yuji and Nobara after the fight. Where first Nobara admits that she cares about Yuji in her own way, because she says something like, "I only have so many."
There's only so many seats in my life, but you just went and brought it your own seat along with you.
And then they banged.
Damn it, Fuzzy.
Well, no. Then they went and found the sleeping Megami, shit themselves because they thought he was dead, and then he woke up.
And then they tried to give Yuji the Sukuna finger without him eating it, and
they very specifically
on his hand.
They very specifically say, Yuji, don't eat this finger. Just like, why? You don't have to tell me. I'm not gonna eat it. And then sticks out a hand, gives him the finger. Sukuna opens the mouth on his hand and eats it. So, just like, Yuji, what did we tell you?
It's not my fault, guys.
And just Yuji was even like, he didn't even do anything in this fight.
Yeah. Speaking of the fights, I just want to mention just how fucking spectacularly animated they are in the anime.
Well, that was.
I don't know if we've brought this up before, but it bears repeating, even if we have.
Well, that's the thing. The team, or a lot of the team that worked on Jujutsu Kaisen also worked on God of High School, and while that anime was basically seen as terrible, the one good thing that people liked about it was that their fights looked incredible.
The problem with God of High School was not that it was badly animated, but that it was badly
written.
They tried to adapt way too much.
But,
yeah, apparently they crammed 2 or 3 cores worth of material into a single core.
But yeah, as soon as I saw the fact that God of High School looked incredible, even if the story was terrible, I was excited for Jujutsu Kaisen, and that excitement paid off because it looked stupendous. And here's another frankly lukewarm take at best. I preferred Jujutsu Kaisen episode 24 fight to Demon Slayer's episode 19 fight.
Well, this is because this is the thing is that when animation being equal, the Jujutsu Kaisen fights are gonna win because they're better choreographed.
The better choreographed. I honestly enjoyed the song more. I do like Kamodo Tanjiro no Uta, but like fucking Remember is such a good song.
It's the difference between that was more of an emotional victory than a physical one, whereas this is just hype fight 2021.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if that fight doesn't win the fight of 2021, I will be appalled.
Unless
but isn't the last season?
No, they might nominate Toto and Yuji versus Hanami instead.
They better
but guys,
fucking not.
Isn't Attack on Titan's last season this year?
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Attack on Titan's last season is garbage.
Yeah, but it's super popular, so it might win.
I don't care.
I don't give a fuck. Anyways, back on track.
Well, the one thing we haven't
really talked about with this season that we haven't mentioned yet.
We haven't talked about the Juju strolls, which were always great.
Juju strolls. My favorite one might just be the one where Geto and the Cursed Spirits are using Jogo's head as a soccer ball.
I've got a couple of favorites. My first one is fucking Nobara.
I actually have not watched a single one of these.
Nobara asked Megami if he's seen her jacket. He says no. She turns to Panda and asks if he's seen it. And you just see Panda in this, like, tiny jacket, just completely stretched, just completely dark, going, "Me tonight." And Nobara just completely tranquil fury just goes, "I see," and just bashes Panda in the head and takes the jacket back. And then goes, "Did you also take my skirt?" Inumaki comes in wearing the skirt. He gets bashed as well. And it turns out that's actually Maki's skirt, and the person who took Nobara's skirt was Gojo. So he used it for an impression with Yuji.
Is this? I hope it's canon to a certain extent.
I hope so.
And then there's also the sketch where Nobara and Yuji just freak out over Megami possibly being asked out by a girl.
No, that was my other favorite. So, like, Yuji sees Megami just talking to a girl and overreacts, gets Nobara and Gojo, and they have plans for this situation and completely cockblock him when it turned out the girl was just asking for directions. And it's just like, Nobara and Yuji act like jilted lovers, and then fucking Gojo does the same. And he's taken off his fucking sunglasses and blindfold for this as well.
I just like which is funny because, as I said, Gojo is basically Megami's dad.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is.
He's literally just doing it to fuck around, you know?
Okay, that said, I will say I think we're running a bit long today.
I just want to mention, one more, which is fucking Yuji, Nobara, and Megami help out a woman who owns I think it's a ramen restaurant or a soba restaurant or something like that, and they get a meal in the house, and like the restaurant owner like gives this really sad story, and when they walk out, like having said, "Oh no, this meal was great," like Megami said, "That food was actually kind of mid-tier," and like Nobara usually like, "I'm so glad you said that." I didn't want to say it, but you did. But yeah, we can end there.
But yes, thank you everyone for joining us. Jujutsu Kaisen is a great series, and we hope you give it a watch if you haven't already.
Yeah, please give it a watch. Give it a read as well. The manga is great as well.
And at the same time, like, subscribe, follow, or whenever you're seeing this, please. We desperately need it. Um,
In
but
terms
yes,
of in terms of
we're
future
bribing
streams,
you with this panda.
yeah, we're bribing you with Panda. In terms of future streams, we've got more D&D tomorrow. Kaido has been irregularly cackling about it.
I've been excited.
Basically cackling.
Thursday we have the Spring 2021 anime midseason check-in. As we've said before, it's a bit later than usual because of Iruma.
And
but
Monday or Tuesday, Logstar, Fuzzy, and I will be playing more Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yep.
Yes, and we will continue to die, probably.
I mean, I'm not going to suicide charge a bunch of enemies like you did.
We should have gone with an infiltrator so we could just snipe everything.
Do you guys lower the difficulty to casual?
No. Fairly sure we're standard.
We're not going to lower the difficulty. It's entirely my fault for just
no, he just
charging in.
He just charged him with a shotgun.
No, it would have worked if I had the shotgun. The problem is that I mixed up the shotgun and the assault rifle.
Anyways, thank you all for joining us. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.